Hey students, Mr. Ish here. In this video we're going to talk about how to use these Understanding the 6 Traits worksheets. There are 6 traits of writing that we are going to be using as our criteria for determining what is good writing throughout this entire semester, and I have prepared one of these packets for each trait. So I want to explain a little bit about how to read these and what you're expected to do with them. So each packet or document is going to cover one of the 6 traits. This one, for example, is about ideas. The first page is all about showing you how that trait takes shape, okay? What it looks like in writing. What does it mean if it's good, and what does it mean if it's bad? What are the descriptors that help you determine different types of that trait, different levels of that trait? So here, for example, I won't read you the whole thing, but you can see the trait of ideas relates to the point of a piece of writing, sometimes called the thesis or main idea, as well as the details that support this point. Okay? Down here, when the ideas are weak, the writer doesn't have anything new to say, or they fail to develop it with details that convince or engage the reader. So you get an overview of what the trait is all about, and then when developing an essay's ideas, there are 4 main elements that you should focus on. Okay, so this chart here shows you the 4 elements that make up a essay or a piece of writing's ideas. The main idea, the purpose, the strength of detail, and the amount of detail. So all of those things, when you're sitting down and measuring the ideas of a piece of writing, those are the main elements you're going to look at. Okay? And we've created a rubric that you can use to score each of those elements. So for example, we'll just look at one of these. Let's look at element 3, strength of detail. So what does that mean? Well, it means that strong details not only support your point, but they also show the reader what you want them to feel or believe. Weaker details simply tell the reader information. The difference can be felt in the following examples. So, if you're trying to assess strength of details, here's an example of a weak telling detail. The dragon was ferocious. Okay? It's weak. In this example, that's weak because it doesn't really give us anything to see or feel or hear. Okay? But a showing detail that's stronger, the crimson dragon gnashed his teeth and spit flames in the air. So now we have something to see. We have something to feel, right? The heat of the flames. So if we're measuring the strength of detail, that's what we're looking for. Are the details showing? Are they vivid? Okay. And over here on the right-hand side, this explains how we could describe the strength of detail at different levels. So our rubric uses a 5-point scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. We only define levels 5, 3, and 1. 2 and 4 are reserved for sort of in between. So if you're trying to evaluate a piece of writing's strength of detail, you'd give it a 5 if relevant and showing details provide the reader with new and insightful information. You'd give it a 3 if the details are relevant, but they could do more to show the point rather than just tell it. And you would give it a 1 if details are irrelevant or unrelated to the main idea. Okay. So that's what the first page is about giving you an overview of that trait. In this example, ideas. Okay. The second page is a example that I have completed of a piece of writing with strong ideas. Almost all of these examples are from past students of mine. So you'll get to read a lot of stuff that my students have written. This example is from a persuasive research essay, as you can see. So what I've done here is the left-hand side gives you a piece of writing. The right-hand side shows you how I evaluate that piece of writing on the rubric. This is the complete rubric for ideas. Okay. Where there's an X mark, that means the writing meets that descriptor. And down here is the overall score. The middle column helps to offer notes to support why I marked these descriptors the way I did. So for example, we're assessing the ideas of this persuasive research essay. And I'll just read a little bit of it to give you an example. So another reason the parents should not stay in a conflicted marriage for the kids is because it affects the parents negatively. There are many studies done linking stress caused by bad marriage to both emotional and health problems. One study was done by the American Medical Association, who found that those with marital stress were 2.9 times more likely to need heart surgery, suffer heart attacks, and even die from heart disease, and so on and so forth. So when I read that, I thought, okay, the writer is showing details from an authoritative source to make her point. She provides insight by pointing out how the study even accounted for other potential factors. And that's why I marked this one right here. Relevant and showing details provide the reader with new and insightful information. Okay. So I color-coded these examples to help you make a connection between the left column, the middle column, and the right-hand column. So another one here, if you notice, another study published in American Journal of Cardiology. Here is the Journal of Health and Social Behavior. Here is a study published in Society for Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin. So when I was reading this piece and I noticed all of those journals, those good sources, and what this student writer was using them for, I noted to myself, the writer ensures that every detail helps achieve a purpose, to prove the readers that it is unhealthy for couples to stay in a toxic marriage. So because all of these details are working together for a purpose, I marked both of these descriptors. The essay has a clear sense of purpose, and every piece of the essay adds to the whole. Okay? And so on with the green one, right? The student ends, by staying in an unhappy marriage, parents are sacrificing more than just their happiness, but their health too, and that's just not worth it. Okay, and I noted here the writer takes an original look at the topic by pointing out something that many readers would not have considered, that bad marriages can affect your health. And that's why I chose this descriptor. It's a clever, original, sophisticated main idea because it approaches the topic from an interesting angle. It gives the reader something they wouldn't have expected otherwise. So that's what the second page does. While the first page gives you an overview of what that trait is all about, the second page gives you an example of how to assess that trait. Okay? The remaining pages are practices for you, and you'll have to complete these throughout the coming weeks. What I expect you to do when you complete these, you'll create a copy of this in your own Google Drive, which there's instructions for that in D2L. But you're going to do exactly what I have done up here. The only exception is I don't really care if you highlight these or not. Okay, I just did that for illustration purposes. But you're going to read this example on the left. You're going to mark where on the rubric you would score the piece, and then you're going to provide explanations for why. So let me do a little bit of this first one to give you an idea. So this is an excerpt from a reflective essay. Okay, so I'll do this right here in front of you so you can see exactly what it is I'm expecting you to do. So let's just read it from the beginning. Another crucial aspect of writing is using exploratory strategies that can aid in an individual in finding their thesis and being able to depict the meaning of a subject that is being introduced. In the past, I never really stopped and used any exploratory methods, as I heedlessly believed that I was capable of introducing an idea without any complications. However, I soon realized after the first week that this was completely untrue, as I struggled with my first assignment not knowing what I wanted to write or how I wanted to explore the topic of why it was important to be a good writer. Nevertheless, when Mr. Ish directed us in trying our hand at free writing, I thought that this was absolutely ridiculous. Thus I soon discovered that this method was actually useful, as it guided me through my assignment, and I was able to get my thoughts out on paper, where I then analyzed my results and determined what was essential and what was not. Moreover, we always used another form of exploratory strategies during our second week of class, where my group and I explored the mad cow. First, we inspected the structure of the motorcycle and built questions that were fundamentally based on the mad cow sculpture. Subsequently, we were able to find answers to our questions by working together and bringing our ideas together. Additionally, coming to a reasonable conclusion about the enigmatic meaning that might have resided behind the design of the mad cow. Furthermore, by using exploratory methods, I've been able to write effectively and am more comfortable with writing my ideas out and presenting them to my teacher. Okay, so remember, we are right now only assessing the writing's ideas. We are not worried about the grammar, or there are some sentences that are really confusing to read because of how long they are. We're just trying to assess the writing's ideas. Now, so a few things I would mark here. I'm going to go ahead and mark an X right here. The main idea is meaningful even if it approaches the topic from a predictable or general angle. And the reason I am saying that is because the writer describes how she uses these exploratory strategies. All right, she gives good examples of all the different examples and how she's using them. So it's clearly reflection, but she doesn't really offer anything new about the experience. So she's reflecting on her experience, but not really coming at it from an interesting angle or giving me anything new. So that's why it's a meaningful topic, but it's generally predictable. I'm also going to mark right here, the essay's main point is clear, but lacks a strong sense of purpose. And the reason I'm marking that one is because I'm not really feeling like the author has anything they want me to do with this info. So she's got a point that she's making, but not exactly a purpose. So that's what separates, for example, this mark from this one right here. Okay, she's reflecting, but I don't really know why. Now, some aspects of her ideas were good. I thought I would mark this one right here because she goes beyond simple telling details to really show me what she experienced. Okay, she provides a lot of good examples. Okay, and then I would mark this one right here as well because she gives plenty of examples of using different exploratory strategies, right? So she doesn't have any lack of details. So since the student scored about half in the 5 and half in the 3, overall I'm going to give her a 4. So that's how you use this document. The first page gives an overview, the second page provides an example, the pages after that provide practices that you are expected to do. And you can find all that information about how to add this to your drive and how to submit them in D2L. Alright, that's it for this video. Good luck learning about the 6 traits.